Okay, welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Please silence all cell phones and note that this meeting has been being taped by FCTV. If there's any private party wishing to record the hearing, step up to the podium to request permission. I will introduce the short staff tonight. On my far right is Mark Finneran. To his left is Scott Peterson. Then we have Frank Duffy, the clerk. I'm Suzanne Murphy, chair. To my left is Noreen Stockman, the zoning administrator, and Ashley DeMello, office assistant. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the state zoning statutes as well as the town zoning bylaws and in reviewing and voting on applications. All decisions are made through the public hearing process. Our goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to closing the hearing process and reaching a decision. Number one, to begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement for the hearing and read pertinent information from the file. 2, the applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation, but time may be extended by vote of the board. 3, the board will then question the applicant. 4, the public will then be invited to comment. Comment should be limited to 2 minutes and be strictly related to the proposal. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair and should come to the podium. State your name and address for the record and speak to the microphone. It will not amplify your voice and record audio for the FCTV viewers. And before we take up the first hearing, we have a minute where if anyone wants to do a public comment on anything that's not on our agenda, you're welcome to come up. Welcome, Mr. Zine.
Good evening. Tommy Zine, Captain Bonenberger Lane. Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. Since this is not a public hearing tonight, I hope you consider my request. Myself and some interested parties would like the opportunity to provide input on this second round of proposed changes to Falmouth Southerly's comprehensive permit on file with the town.
It's on our agenda.
No, it's on the agenda.
It's on our agenda.
You'd have to ask for that when it comes up.
Can we talk?
No.
No.
I'm not talking about substantial changes in substantial.
No, you can't address anything that's on the agenda, but when it comes up, you're free to address it in any fashion you like.
Okay.
You're just in the, you got the right idea, but you're in the wrong time slot.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Anybody else want public comment? Then we'll move on. Our first hearing is a continuation, 07825, 123 Crystal Spring. And Kevin, as you can, Attorney Clower, as you can see, we have a 4-man board. That is all up to you.
Well, why don't we move forward and see how it goes, and if we need to request a continuation to the next hearing, we can, at which point one of the other 2 members could potentially read in through the Mullen rule.
You got it. So we received new plans. Now I just got to figure out which ones are the new ones.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, Kevin Clower. This is a continuation, but just as a reminder, I'm here before you representing Tim and Kaylin Dennison, the owners of 123 Crystal Springs Avenue, and I'm joined tonight by Ken Koska, who's the builder on this. I'd like to offer a brief recap from the last hearing. So the Dennisons are seeking permission to raise and rebuild the existing non-conforming dwelling on this property. The 123 Crystal Springs is on a lot of about 10,450 square feet. There's presently a 3-bedroom single-family dwelling with a footprint of 1,080 square feet, and it's non-conforming to front yard setback, being 23.6 feet where 25 is required, but otherwise conforms to setback and lot coverage requirements. So they're proposing a new 3-bedroom dwelling, which eliminates the only existing non-conformity. The front yard setback will be improved from 23.6 to 25.2, and it otherwise exceeds all other setback requirements. The lot coverage by structure would be increased by 23.3%, which is allowable by special permit. And the lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking would be 33.7%, well below the 40% allowed. Since our last meeting, the interior floor plans have been revised to address comments and concerns of the board, specifically around some of the rooms. To be more precise, in the basement, the full bath was reduced to a half bath, and the unfinished storage room was eliminated. On the first floor, the study in the living room, which the study was this area here, the separation between them has been removed as well. So no longer separated by a wall. The entirety of the first floor is now an open layout. The second floor, there was an area dedicated as an office. That has been, the separation of that from the master bedroom has been removed, as well as the door from the hallway, to eliminate the appearance of that as a separate usable room. The storage room in the hallway was also reduced significantly to just be a linen closet rather than a full room there. And on the top floor, it was specifically noted that this is an open railing to the floor below, eliminating any expectation of privacy. So while it was the case before, it's hopefully now more clear that what is being proposed is only 3 bedrooms, the master and the 2 on the second floor. In addition, shortly after our last hearing, we did receive a follow-up from Amy Lowell and Scott McGann. Ms. Lowell was in agreement that a condition in the special permit noting a 3-bedroom limitation would be appropriate and acceptable and would address any concerns she would have. The applicants have also taken this time to reach out to some of the neighbors to discuss the proposal in more depth. Specifically, they did try to reach out to the neighbor who was here last time. They spoke to him after the hearing and have reached out again, as well as some of the other direct abutters across the street. Under the applicant's proposal, there's no new nonconformities created. The only existing nonconformity is limited. There's no impact of using vistas from public ways, and it is consistent with the neighborhood. We believe that the proposal meets the requirements of 240-12.1E. The site's adequate and suitable for the proposed use. It remains a single-family dwelling, the same as at present. There's no increase in the number of bedrooms, so there's no change to wastewater. There's no impact on traffic flow or safety. This proposal improves appearance and functionality of the property and won't adversely impact use and vistas from public ways. And there are already adequate utilities servicing the property. The Dennison's proposal represents a significant improvement over the existing condition, especially in light of what the applicants intend to use it for. The existing nonconformity is eliminated, and there's no new dimensional nonconformities. There's no adverse effects that overbalance the benefits that have been outlined. In short, there's nothing about the proposal that is substantially more detrimental than what currently exists. The applicants have really done their best to address the concerns that were voiced by the board. I think they've done so in a meaningful way. I believe this further meets the requirements of 240-10.2A, 240-11.3A4, and 240-12.1E. I believe that you can and should grant the special permit, and I would be happy to address any questions that the board may have at this time.
Thanks. You want to start off, Mark?
Sure. You understand we have to operate under certain constraints, and this neighborhood is even more constrained. And it's still a very nice house, and you've addressed, as well as we can expect, I guess, our concerns. So take it away, Scott.
I appreciate the applicant making those changes. Attorney Clowright, how about the tree warden issue? Was that all?
So we did reach out to the tree warden. I mean, there's going to be construction going on, but anything that's been removed would be replanted.
Okay, thank you very much.
I spoke with Jeremiah Pearson before the prior hearing, and he wasn't overly concerned with it, but said, we'll have to make sure we mitigate for that, in which we're happy to do so. We don't want to do it now before we do any construction, but we'd gladly do so afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
So it's my recollection that the trees were on the public right-of-way, and that's what caused the issue?
Yeah, it's the road's not very well defined there, and
No, it's
certainly
not.
nor is the public right-of-way in any area. There was certainly no ill intent there. It was just a matter of that's where the driveway was going to be, so they took it down, but they didn't follow the appropriate procedure, but will do so as part of the construction process.
So there's been no changes to the lot coverage issues, but was there any change to the building height?
No.
So it's still at 26.4 feet? Is the height?
Or not.
34.2 up
Yeah, 34 feet 2
Yeah.
inches.
34.2,
Yeah.
so it was currently 26 and 34.2,
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
Thank you.
What's that?
Yeah.
Will you go, I didn't have my plan out for the basement changes.
So I'll actually show you the prior plan. That might be helpful. So this is what was the original layout for the basement here. So they had a separate utility room, they had a full bath, the unfinished storage. And what they did was they reduced that There's just the unfinished utility room. They eliminated the unfinished storage space, and they just changed that to a half bath to eliminate any appearance of it being a separate, usable, livable bedroom.
And parking, there's enough for 2 cars in that, do
There's
you
a
think?
two-car garage, yeah.
Okay.
And then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
the full driveway as well, so
Yeah.
theoretically, you'd have 4 or even 5
Yep.
parking spaces.
That's all I have. Anybody have any other questions up here? Anybody from the public want to speak on this? You want to go?
Let's roll the dice.
You shoot those dice.
Motion to close, Madam Chair?
Second?
We have a motion to close,
To discuss, I think.
to discuss with testimony, I guess. And a second, motion and a second, Mark and Scott. Any further discussion?
No,
I think the improvements were great, myself.
answered our questions.
All set?
Yeah.
Go for it, Scott.
Motion to approve with conditions?
Second that?
We have a motion and a second. Set?
So we'll do findings.
Yep.
Properties at 123 Crystal Spring Avenue in New Silver Beach area of North Falmouth, Timothy Dennison, trustee. It's an RC zoning district. They've applied for a special permit under section 240.11.2A, section 240.11.3A4 of the Falmouth zoning bylaw to raise and reconstruct a single-family dwelling exceeding 20% lot coverage by structure. Properties in the Wild Harbor Coastal Pond Overlay District in an ex-flood zone. The existing structure is a single-family dwelling with 3 bedrooms of 10,080 square feet. The proposal is for a single-family dwelling with 3 bedrooms at 2,438 square feet. There are no previous decisions of the Board of Appeals on record. The lot is 10,450 square feet in a zoning district which currently requires 40,000 square feet. The street frontage is 110 feet in a zoning district which currently requires 100. The street, as Crystal Spring Avenue, is a public right-of-way at this location, according to the town engineer. The existing lot coverage by structure is 10.3%. It will be increased by this project to 23.3%, and they will need the special permit to exceed the 20% allowed by bylaw. We're allowed to go up to 25% with the special permit. The neighborhood average is 20.61%, according to the worksheet submitted. Lot coverage by structure, parking, and paving is 13.6%, will be increased to 33.7%. The limit is 40, so they're okay. The existing nonconformity is the frontage at 23.6 feet from the street. The zoning bylaw requires 25, and we've been informed that that nonconformity will be eliminated and that the new construction will be set back at least 25 feet from the street. The height will be 34.2 feet, which is within the 35-foot limit of the zoning bylaw. The engineering department submitted a referral suggesting a driveway permit may be necessary, and that we look into the tree removal from the public right-of-way. Mr. Clower has explained how that's going to work, that he's contacted the tree warden, and will work with the tree warden on that issue. The engineering also advises us to make appropriate conditions for stormwater runoff and erosion and soil control. Property is on a sewer. Conservation has no comment. The Water Department recommends a 1-inch PE service for the new property with the meter in the house. There are no letters in support or in opposition of the project, and there was no public comment. With respect to Section 240.10.2A of the Falmouth zoning bylaw, nonconforming structures may be altered, extended, changed, or by special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals on the condition that there is no increase in nonconforming nature of the property. In this particular situation, the nonconformity will be eliminated. We also make the finding that the proposed structure will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing one. Under Section 240.11.3A4, the zoning bylaw in an RC district may permit lot coverage by structure in excess of 20%, up to 25%. Upon a finding, which we make, that the size and height of the proposed structure relates to the neighborhood average, there's no evidence of adverse shadow effect on adjacent property. There's no evidence that views and vistas from public ways will be impaired, and there's no evidence of nitrogen impairment of coastal embayments because they're on the sewer. For the general purposes of a special permit, we find that the site is adequate for the proposed use. It is suitable for the proposed use. There's no negative impact on traffic flow and safety. There's no impact or adverse effect on the neighborhood visual character. There's adequate sewage disposal because it's on the sewer. There's adequate utilities, and there'll be no negative impact on the supply of affordable housing.
And conditions, we'll do those now.
Sure.
3-bedroom. Should we have him meet with Jeremiah, with the tree warden?
You can
As a
just,
condition?
you can just condition that he complies with
Complies with,
whatever requirements of the
let's do that
tree
one.
warden.
Okay. Should we have an as-built because of the height? It's creeping right up.
34
34
to the
feet.
top of the railing, though.
I did, in the last hearing, agree that we would be willing to do that
Yeah,
if the board
I
was
think we should.
concerned.
Thank you for agreeing.
Yes.
Very agreeable tonight.
Well, so far.
For plans?
For plans, do we need a driveway permit? Was somebody asked, I
Yeah,
think it was
they'll have to
engineering?
comply with.
Engineering said I think they said may,
Yeah.
but that's what they usually say.
Okay. Per plans, hours of operation, 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 on Saturdays, no holidays. Construction materials shall be located on the lot. Dark sky compliant lighting.
No,
No.
no,
No?
no.
Okay. None of those, should I just be quiet?
Nice try.
can do that.
Nice try.
Okay,
Noreen, do you have anything?
No further structures absent
Yeah.
prior
that's
permission.
the one I was just about to say, but then I didn't dare. No further structures. Anything else?
No.
Anything else you can think of?
It's good.
We're good?
Yep.
All right, let's vote on it.
Sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Thank you very much.
All right, next we take up new hearing, 08625, 21 Johnson Street.
Okay, this is public hearing 86 of the year 2025, because that's the date of filing. The property is located at 21 Johnson Street in Falmouth. The owners are Brian and Kathleen Dalton. They've applied to the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-10.2A and 240-11.3A4 of the Falmouth zoning bylaw to construct additions to the existing non-conforming dwelling and exceed lot coverage by structure at 20%. The property is located in an RC zoning district. The existing structure is a single-family dwelling with 4 bedrooms and a shed. The footprint is currently 1,571 square feet. The proposal is for a single-family dwelling, 4 bedrooms, the shed, and the footprint will be 2,153 square feet. There are no previous decisions of the Board of Appeals on file. The lot is 8,625 square feet in a zoning district which currently requires 40,000 square feet. Street frontage is 85 feet in a zoning district which currently requires 100. This is a public right-of-way according to the engineering department. The existing lot coverage by structure is 18.2%. It would be increased by the proposed structure to 25%. The limit is 20, but we're allowed by special permit to allow lot coverage by structure up to 25%. The neighborhood average, according to the worksheet submitted, is 17.18%. Lot coverage by structure, parking, and paving is 25.3%. It will be increased to 30.2% within the 40% limit of the zoning bylaw. This is a non-conforming structure in that the north setback is 9.8 feet, where 10 feet is required. The other setbacks are conforming. Engineering has recommended that we condition stormwater runoff and soil erosion control. The Board of Health has advised us that the house is on a sewer. Conservation has no comment. The Water Department requests an increase in the water service to 1 inch PE with the meter in the house. Wastewater department is okay. The building department has no comment. There are no letters in support or in opposition in the file.
Good evening again. Thank you. For the record, Kevin Clower. And I am before you representing Brian and Kathleen Dalton, the owners of 21 Johnson Street. They're seeking permission to alter the existing non-conforming dwelling. This is not a raise and rebuild, it's just an addition to the existing. 21 Johnson Street is located in the northern flat portion of Falmouth Heights. It's a dense residential neighborhood. This lot, as Mr. Duffy noted, is 8,625 square feet. It is in the RC zoning district, and it is surprisingly not in a flood zone. Presently, there's a 4-bedroom, 1.5-story, single-family dwelling with a footprint of 1,571 square feet. It is non-conforming only to the side yard setback to the north, being 9.8 where 10 is required, but otherwise conforms to setback and lot coverage requirements. The applicants have owned this property for the last 12 years, but they're looking to make more use of the property on a regular basis, and they found they require additional space. So, as such, they're proposing an addition to the existing dwelling. The proposal does not create any new dimensional nonconformities. The only existing nonconformity is unaffected. It exceeds all other setback requirements. The front yard will remain unchanged at 25.5 feet. The side yard setback to the south is unchanged at, I have 22 feet 9 inches. The rear yard setback will be 23 feet 6 inches. The lot coverage by structure will increase. It increases to 24.96%, which is allowable by special permit. And the lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking would be 30.2, which is well below the 40% that is allowed. Relative to the lot coverage by structure, we fully expect and understand that the board would like certification, and would certainly accept that as a condition if this is so granted. The proposed height here is just about 27 feet 4 inches. Due to the existing nonconformity in the proposed lot coverage by structure, this requires a special permit pursuant to 240-10.2A and 240-11.3A4. Under 240-10.2A, pre-existing nonconforming structures may be changed by special permit, provided they're not substantially more detrimental than what exists. The board is asked to consider the standards of 240-12.1E and whether or not the alteration creates any new dimensional nonconformities, impairs views and vistas, and reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. In this case, there's no new nonconformities created. The only existing nonconformity is unaffected. It doesn't affect the views and vistas, and it is consistent with the neighborhood, as we'll elaborate. Pursuant to 240-11.3A4, lot coverage by structure above 20% may be allowed by special permit. You're asked, in that case, to consider the size and height of the structure in relation to the neighborhood, the effects of shadow, impacts on views and vistas from public ways, and the effect of nitrogen on coastal embayments. In this case, there's no impact to views and vistas from public ways. And as to the size and height, size and fit with the neighborhood, we submitted a lot comparison worksheet looking at the nearby properties. While it's larger than some of the homes in terms of gross floor area, it's certainly in line in terms of the footprint. It's similar in size to a number of homes that have been permitted by this board in the Falmouth Heights areas, right by here, and constructed just in the last few years. There's no change in the effect of nitrogen. It's served by the Little Pond Sewer District, which allows for up to 4 bedrooms by right, and there's no change to the proposed number of bedrooms, which is and will remain 4. Beyond that, this meets with the requirements of 240-12.1E. It's an adequate and suitable use for the site is adequate and suitable for the proposed use. It is and will remain a single-family dwelling. There's no increase in the number of bedrooms, so there's no change to wastewater. There's no impact on traffic flow and safety. It's the same uses as present. The proposal will improve the appearance and functionality, and won't adversely impact views and vistas in public ways. And there are adequate utilities already servicing the property. So this proposal is a significant improvement over the existing conditions of the property for the applicants. There's no change to the only existing nonconformity, and there's no new dimensional nonconformities. There's no adverse effects that overbalance the benefits. I believe this meets all of the requirements of 240-10.2A, 240-11.3A4, and 240-12.1E. Beyond that, I'd be happy to address any questions you may have, but otherwise hope that you would grant the special permit this evening.
Want to start?
Sure. Not much. I mean, you really got a pretty sharp pencil here. You push the envelope right to the max. Potentially, if you count soffits, you could be over, so whatever. You said you'd agree to an as-built, so other than that, You know, it's an upgrade that makes sense. So that's all I have for you tonight, sir. Again, short and sweet. I'm short anyway.
Not for everyone.
I agree with Mr. Finneran's comments, so I have no further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Clower, I just want to confirm here, the height of this structure is not being changed.
So the height is increasing. It is going to be 27 feet, 4 and 17/32 inches.
20, what, 20?
27 feet, 4, and then 17/32 is what it says on the plan, which is not a fraction I've ever seen before.
So we round it off.
again.
So yeah, we'll call it
Just over a half.
27, 4 and a half.
27 and a half.
27.
4 and a half.
4 and a half.
Yeah.
27 feet, 4 and 1/2
0.5
inches.
3/4, rounded up to 5.
Yeah. It's like the whole 4 100s from the max.
I had to triple check that fraction.
Well, some people, they do height by 27, by feet and inches, and others do it by feet and tenths.
Yeah. So architects usually use the feet and inches, engineers use the feet and tenths on the site
I
plan.
didn't know the difference, okay.
How about attorneys?
Yeah, what do
Whichever
you,
was better for me.
They do what they're told.
Whichever one sounds better.
Everyone pays more.
Yeah, really.
all right, I pass.
Kevin, did you add the granite stairs and the ramp for the shed into the,
The granite stair would count as lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking. So,
and the ramp to the shed?
yes, that was included.
Okay. That's all I have.
I would have left that out if I were you.
I wouldn't want to lie to you, Mark.
Oh,
He
it's
doesn't
not a-
wanna be
it's-
sneaky.
It's not concrete yet, if you pardon the poor pun.
You guys all set up here? Yeah. Anybody from the public want to comment on this project? Good?
So just as a correction, the site plan itself lists a lot coverage by structure of 25%?
Yeah, if you actually do the math, 2153 divided by 8,625, it comes up to 24.96. I wish they had put that, but they put 25.0. They rounded up.
Okay, just want to make sure that we're
The as-built.
They're inconsistent.
on the same page.
Yeah, I looked at the numbers, and I just, when I do the lot comparison worksheets, it calculates, and I was like, oh, that's marginally, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same exact square footage, it's just, you know, if you round
You
up.
don't do that by 30 seconds. Motion to close?
Oh, no, yeah. Motion to close. In a second. Do you want the word testimony or not?
Did you ask for neighbors? No?
Yes, I asked the
okay.
public.
All right, so we're good?
Correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
I did.
Okay.
Any
vote.
further discussion?
No.
I think I'm all set. Do findings?
We're gonna
Got to vote on the motion to close first.
Okay. Scott, that's you. Oh, you're doing it?
No,
Oh, I thought we have to vote on it.
No, we have
All
to
those
vote.
in favor of
Aye,
closing?
aye.
Opposed? None. Sorry, I messed up. Now it's Scott.
Motion to approve with conditions?
Fine, here are the facts.
We have a motion, and I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Go ahead,
The
Frank.
findings, the property is at 21 Johnson Street in the Falmouth Heights section of Falmouth. Brian and Kathleen Dalton are the reported owners. It's an RC zoning district. They've applied for a special permit under section 240-10.2A and 240-11.3A4 in addition to a non-conforming dwelling exceeding lot coverage or exceeding 20% lot coverage by structure. It's in the Little Pond Coastal Pond Overlay District. There's no flood zone. The existing dwelling is a single-family dwelling, 4 bedrooms with a shed, 1,571 square feet. The proposal is for a single-family dwelling, 4-bedroom with a shed, 2,153 square feet. No previous decisions of the Zoning Board of Appeals are on record. The lot size is 8,625 square feet in a zoning district which currently requires 40,000 square feet. Street frontage is 85 feet in a zoning district which currently requires 100. Johnson Street is a public right-of-way at this location. The existing lot coverage by structure is 18.2%. It will be increased to 25%. We have authority by special permit to allow lot coverage by structure in excess of 20% up to 25%. The average lot coverage by structure according to the worksheet is 17.18%. The lot coverage by structure, parking, and paving is 25.3%. It will be increased to 30.2%. The limit is 40%, so they're within the limits of the zoning bylaw. The nonconformity is the north sideline, which is 9.8 feet, where 10 is required. That will remain, but there'll be no new nonconformities. The height of the building is 27 feet 4 1/2 inches, give or take, a 32nd. The engineering department has asked us to consider stormwater runoff and the soil erosion control. The Board of Health advises us they're on the sewer. Conservation has no comment. Water wants 1-inch PE pipe or service, meter in the house. Wastewater is okay. Building department has no comment. We have no letters in support, no letters in opposition, no public comment. With respect to the zoning bylaw under section 240-10.2A, non-conforming structures may be altered, extended, or changed by special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals, provided there is no increase in the non-conforming nature of the structure. In this particular case, it remains the same, so there's no increase. We make the finding that the proposed structure will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing one. Under section 240-11.3A4, in an RC district, lot coverage by structure is 20%. We have authority to increase it to a maximum of 25% upon a finding that the size and height of the proposed structure relates to the neighborhood averages, and we so determine. There's no evidence of shadows, adverse shadow effect on adjacent property. There's no evidence that views and vistas from public ways will be impaired, and there's no evidence of nitrogen impact on coastal embayments, as the property is on the sewer. As far as the general principles of a special permit, we find that the site is adequate for the proposed use. The site is suitable for the proposed use. No evidence of adverse effects on traffic flow and safety. There's no evidence of adverse effect on neighborhood visual character. There's adequate sewage disposal being on the sewer. There's adequate utilities, and there's no evidence of a negative impact on the supply of affordable housing.
All right, and a comp sheet in the findings. There was one in there.
Yeah,
Saw one.
17.18%.
Yeah. Conditions. As-built,
Please.
per plans, all boards, construction hours, no further structures, right? Because it's at 25?
Yeah.
No further structures? Anything else?
No,
Anything else, Noreen?
easy one.
Nope.
I think that's it. Think we're all set? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none.
Thank you very much.
Great, thanks.
Appreciate all of your time tonight.
All right, moving on, we have minutes, January 29th.
Table.
Tabled. And then we have request for an insubstantial change, 09323, Falmouth Southerly.
Good evening. David Calhoun for Falmouth Southerly. I'm joined by Phil Cordero, civil engineer. As the board knows, you wrote a very detailed decision with a lot of conditions we have to follow. And one of the conditions, condition 31, requires when we get to the building department, and even before we get to the building department, that there's a time when the drawings we're supposed to submit, and you're going to peer review that what was approved is substantially in compliance with what we're actually brought to the building department. So we have some time, and so we've been working on the plans. Last time we were before you, we were able to reduce the size of the buildings. We continue to work on that, and that's part of the request tonight, that the buildings have gotten slightly smaller. The units have gotten slightly smaller. They're both under the state's requirements for a change less than 10%. The state also has a position that Whenever you're making something smaller, you're typically making it less impactful, so it stays under the insubstantial change. In addition, the reduction in the size of the buildings, during the hearing process, the board had asked us to pursue solar, and make sure our building was at least solar ready. We worked on that, and it has now come to the conclusion that we will be pursuing a solar panel system on our roof. In order to do that, we decided to change the roof from a flat roof to a pitched roof. In making that change, it would require a change in our height. The height that was approved by the board was 53 feet. To do a pitched roof, the highest point on that pitched roof, the highest point on our buildings at all, will be 54 feet, 3.5 inches. Again, under the 10% change, but it was also something that the architects and the marketing team felt was more in keeping with a Cape Cod look, a pitched roof versus a contemporary flat roof. In addition to that, we looked at some of our stormwater work. We did get our stormwater system submitted and approved through your independent stormwater approval process, which Phil can speak to. But we were looking at it, and we reached the conclusion that some of our subgrade structures would function better if they were surface regular retention type basins. So Phil made some recommendations to change those. Still the same performance criteria, but they are a little bit less maintenance, and in the long run, they function better because you don't have a plastic structure underground. So if you have any civil technical questions, Phil's here, I'm here. But I think we gave you a pretty good package of information, and we hope that you'll make the decision that it's insubstantial and we'll continue on. And our goal of this process is we don't want to get to building permit drawings and get to the building department, and all of a sudden, he raises his hand and he says, guys, that doesn't match with what the ZBA wanted. So we're trying to be very proactive and keep this moving.
Thank you. Phil, will you show us the stuff that's going to come above ground, please? At least I would like to see it anyway.
Yeah.
Phil gets that set up if you don't mind. These are the conditions, just so you don't have to look it up. Other protections that you already put in place.
Thanks.
And we tried to only put it on the river road, 68 or 82, whatever it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, Phil Cordero from Allen and Major Associates. Good to see the board again. David went through the changes with more specificity. The board may recall our central driveway off of Sandwich Road. On either side of it, we had underground drainage structures located generally here where the cursor is moving on both sides. The road drained into catch basins and then went underground. What we're asking on the determination is removal of those underground drainage structures for more of a natural basin feel. So this will be a shallow depth ponding area, 2 feet in depth. The board may recall the soils out here are very, very highly permeable, so water infiltrates through here very, very quickly. So we don't need a whole lot of depth to make sure we're meeting the 100-year stormwater standard that's written in our permit and required. So we're asking for that change along the side of the driveway. And then there was another area of stormwater chambers located just northerly of where our wastewater leaching field is to be located, generally here where the cursor is. We're going to eliminate those and pipe everything together and slightly enlarge the stormwater basin that's on the property and we're enlarging it to the west, so towards the easement into the wood line, nothing further encroaching to our neighbors to the south of us. And all of those will meet all of the stormwater standards of both the town and the state, and the review that would be required through CEI, through the engineering department. We'd expect them to weigh in on certifying those changes as we move through that process. And I'll remind the board, I think David may have just handed them out. In our permit, we do have two conditions, specifically number 40 and number 65. And paraphrasing 40, it says, final stormwater plans to be reviewed by the town's engineering firm to ensure the design meets 100-year storm event. And condition 65, prior to application for building permit, the applicant shall file with the Falmouth Engineering Department for a stormwater permit registration with final review conducted by DPW and CEI, your engineering consultant. I'll mention that condition 65, we have already actually done that with CEI. We have the stormwater registration. We've completed that. We now would need to go back to them pending the decision here tonight to have that permit amended to reflect these changes.
How much bigger is that one at the bottom?
Numerically about 10%. 10%. So what we did is we widened it. I apologize, maybe I should have prepared an overlay showing what was approved versus what I'm suggesting here. We've taken the top line of the basin that was at elevation 44. It remains at elevation 44. We've enlarged it about 6 feet westerly. So we've basically pulled this line of the basin 6 feet westerly towards the power line easement, towards Sandwich Road, from where it was when this board last saw those plans.
But the height won't change.
The height does not change. The height and depth are not changing. We're simply enlarging it to add more volume into it. Yes,
And
ma'am.
now the other end where they're going to be open pits, is that going to be fenced?
They are not fenced. We discussed that during the main permitting hearing for this, is because these basins are going to remain open, we don't anticipate them holding stormwater for more than a few hours, based on the calculations that were reviewed, that we really want them to integrate into the environment. They'll receive natural growth. We want them to sort of disappear. Fencing that doesn't always allow that, because now you're putting a visual barrier around them. So it was raised. We elected not to fence them at this time. If conditions were to change, if we felt there was an issue, we can certainly consider it. Part of that discussion was, well, these basins are going to hold water. Is that not a hazard for the community? And we recognize that they will hold water for a very short timeline, and the property management will be responsible for making sure that the residents here are aware that these are ponding basins for children and, quite frankly, adults to not go in them when they have water present.
Now, when the bus drops the kids off, how are you going to keep the kids out of them?
So the bus stop, as a reminder, is located here at the entrance to Sandwich Road. They will remain predominantly dry. Now, their total depth is 2 feet. In that, when these basins are at 100% capacity for a 100-year storm, the water depth will only be 12 inches in there. Now, I know that's still a depth where, tragedy can happen in very, very shallow waters, but these will be a maximum of 1 feet. The particular basin here that's located proximate to the shelter is on the back side of the bike path, the 10-foot wide multimodal bike path that we're constructing. So we will have a visual separation, a visual barrier, so it's not a fence, but there will be a crossing of the bike path to get to these basins, and we envision that would be the visual deterrent to keep people out of them.
That's only one of them. And the other side, I just worry about kids. I know my kids would jump right in.
Nope, completely understandable to ask for that. So on the other side, we don't have any sidewalks along that side of the driveway, so we're not inviting pedestrians to activate that side of the roadway, so we can keep folks away from that.
I wonder if we could tree the area
If you
around.
did, though, it'd be harder to see if there was someone in any kind of distress, so that would probably be a negative to the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, functionally, having these open, they're much more maintainable, they're much more visible. We confirm that they're working. If there's a problem, it's fixed immediately. While the underground structures that I put in all the time do work, they can be maintained. Failures are harder to fix. These are much easier to fix and resolve.
So are you going to clean that like a sump occasionally?
They would get cleaned, they would get inspected annually, so the operation and maintenance plan that's on record already, because we already have stormwater basins written into the permit, these would just become part of that. It's annual compliance, cutting the grass, cleaning them out, pulling the sediment out of there, making sure there's no erosion, all of those things will get done annually and documented. Yes, sir.
That's,
And the trash only gets cleaned out once a year?
Well, so the trash is reviewed monthly or as needed, quite frankly. The stormwater standards don't really speak to trash removal on a recurring basis, that it has to happen quarterly, monthly, annually. There's a bit of a learning curve in that we see how the trash accumulates, and quite frankly, the ownership just has to clean them. You state that you don't want accumulated trash in there. It has to, when it's visible, it needs to be removed, regardless of whether it's on a monthly, weekly basis. It just has to be removed.
That's all I have. Anybody else? Sorry, I hogged.
I mean, the engineers take a look at it, they're the subject area experts. Just could you give me one more? How's the basin built out? Is there a riprap stone at the bottom, or is this just soil? The whole thing is soil from, as it loops around?
It is just soil.
Okay.
As it loops around. So the idea of the soil is so that way it can be grassed and it can just ingratiate into its natural environment. Rock is very harsh, visually, so we made the design decision not to riprap the bottom of the basin. By having very long, shallow basins, the water really spreads itself out thin, infiltrates very quickly into the ground. That's the design intent and goal. And we welcome the review from CEI. We understand that they'll provide the technical expertise for the board and the town.
Thank you.
and with a 2-foot depth, and you're only anticipating 1 foot in the 100-year storm, I mean, technically, they're overbuilt.
So what we're required to do is provide 1 foot of freeboard. It's emergency capacity. So if for some reason the entirety of the bottom of the basin were to get clogged, there's 1 foot of extra storage that is to alert us, to alert operations that something is not working if the basin routinely fills to that level. So they are over-designed by purpose.
Yeah. Mr. Calhoun said that the original stormwater design was received then necessary approvals, and you're going to go through that process again. Now,
Yes, sir.
what do you get from, well, who do you get approvals from? For the record?
The engineering department, sir.
Engineering department.
So the engineering department for Falmouth issues the stormwater management permit, which is a registration that there are stormwater systems on site and establishes the obligations for the owners under operation and maintenance.
And is a copy of that permit submitted to the building department before the building permit is issued for the project?
I don't know for sure, but
The building commissioner is going to look at before he issues final permit?
what I would expect as tradition is when the building inspector is requested to issue a building permit, the laundry list of departments need to sign off on it. The engineering department would be one of them. So while the building may not actually receive the permit, I think engineering would have the opportunity to flag they don't have the permit, and that would stop the building permit process.
So there's a sign-off procedure then? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay.
Would you like this?
No, I think that, I remember from a long time ago, that's the procedure. I just couldn't remember how it's done, but you've clarified it. Thank you.
Scott, you all set?
It's just for Ms. Calhoun.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Could you give us a little update on when you're looking to potentially permit, and any update you could give us on the sidewalk?
Question.
The sidewalk will be, we'll work on in conjunction with the rest of the site work. Right now, we're just waiting for our groundwater discharge permit. Obviously, that's a key element before you go full bore. I would envision we'll be at the building department within 6 months or less from when that groundwater discharge permit comes out. It was...
Can't make that 6 weeks?
Excuse me?
Can't make that 6 weeks?
I wish we could. I wish we could. The groundwater discharge
I'll be your
permit
friend.
was issued, I believe it was the end of October, the 1st of November. It then appears in the environmental monitor for a 30-day comment period, but the 30 days doesn't start till the environmental monitor schedule. So that didn't appear until I believe it was November 15th or the week of, and that comment period closed on Christmas Day. So we anticipate the permit would be in final form and released within somewhere between 30 and 90 days of that happening. So once that comes in, go as quick as we can. But so far, everything very, very positive. We're continuing to look at every piece of it. We were able to come up with more space because now we're digging into the design. We're determining we don't need spaces for chases. We don't need spaces for storage that we put in, but we don't need. So, yeah, we're very, very positive on it. And surprisingly, we are getting a lot of calls from people that want to rent and are asking the question, when will it be ready? So our hope is, the sooner we can get it ready, it's in our best interest. So we're going to go as fast as we can. And we've already heard from the DPW about the sidewalk. Obviously, they want to make sure we're not trying to do a sidewalk in the middle of the summer, but they want the sidewalk as soon as we can. So.
Thank you for the update.
Yep.
Just, you got here, just for my own edification, you got them 251 1 by 69. What was the previous, what were the previous dimensions before this?
On the building?
Yeah.
We changed a couple thousand square feet.
He told us June.
Yeah, but I just,
70 to 68.
yeah, but they also
Yeah.
found, and I just kind of want to, it's quirky, but
You just wanted to test his math skills.
well, no, because he said,
I'd have to pull plans and check, but.
right. So actually, it's, what my question was, is it's not as much as it appears because you found more space interior by reducing chases and whatnot.
We
So,
have reduced the size of the
so
building.
it's kind of as much an efficiency.
But the gross building square footage has come down substantially.
Yeah. All right, like I said, it just, sometimes I like numbers, that's all good.
Everybody all set up here? You
I
everybody
am,
good?
yes.
Noreen, you good? For the public? Anybody from the public want to speak on this project? Come on up.
Before I speak, I'd like to have you hear something. I beg your pardon. Here it is. In my backyard. It's a great horned owl. I'm wondering where he's going to go when you rip up the neighborhood. The other thing I'm concerned about is
Where are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathleen Crowley Braga, 63 Deepwood Drive. Deepwood Drive's 2 lanes, but it's not now because of the snow. So 1 lane in, you have to wait, pull over. DPW does a wonderful job removing the snow, but there's no place to put the snow. So my concern in question is kind of common sense. You have all these big trucks that are going to be coming in with materials and goods that need to be delivered to the work site, coming down Sandwich Road. I don't know when they're coming. You don't know when they're coming. What are you going to do? Am I going to pay for the traffic detail, for the cops to direct traffic so these trucks can get in and get out? Because people are going to need to come down Sandwich Road. Buses are going to need to be coming down Sandwich Road. We know buses don't come down Sandwich Road during school vacation week when we do traffic studies, but we do know that they come down Sandwich Road. And I'm not really sure where the children are going to be, waiting for the bus. Stop by Tanglewood and Sandwich Road, the corner of it. You will see at least 8 cars in the morning with children and parents watching them. So when all this heavy equipment comes down Sandwich Road, how's it going to get in? How's it going to get out? Are they going to go through Parker Mill Road and open that up? Are they going to go through Tanglewood? I don't know. It's a question that I'm really concerned about because it takes me quite some time to get out of Deepwood to get onto Sandwich Road. And now with all the construction, and did say this before, all the construction that they're doing from Brick Kiln Road corner to Sandwich Road, all the way up to School Administration Building, it takes forever to get up through that road, in front of RJ's Variety, in front of Paul's, all that. So now we're putting in a brand-new police department on Brick Kiln Road. We're going to be potentially putting in 2 new developments up where the horse farm is on Sandwich Road. We're going to be putting in this easterly, I have another name for it, and I'm not really sure what's considered affordable. I do know somebody that's moving into the facility, I say the facility, the housing complex right up the street, the huge one. They were given an affordable rate, 3-bedroom, $2,500. The market rate there for a 3-bedroom is $4,000. Please tell me, what is the affordable rate going to be for this when you push out Mr. Great Horn Screech Owl to build this monstrosity? How much is it going to cost? What's really affordable?
The unfortunate thing about the demographics in this town is there's people moving in that are driving the AMI up. I believe the affordable rate for a 1-bedroom is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,740 or $1,550. So it's expensive here no matter what, and getting higher. And like it's all linked to the area median income. And unfortunately, there's some.
But for those that need to get to work, pay their mortgage, that already live in this neighborhood, how late am I going to be to get to work in the morning? How much traffic is it going to be? How late are kids going to be getting to school? Has anyone really thought about that? The amount of stops and pickups along Sandwich Road. Has anyone contacted the Director of Transportation for Falmouth Public Schools? That I do ask you. I can tell you bus 27 alone, that bus is packed with kids. I mean, I think a lot of things, like, yeah, we say we need affordable housing, that's great. But when we get down to the fine, minute details, please consider those. Consider the bus traffic. Consider the safety of children who are standing on Sandwich Road with these big trucks coming in with heavy equipment. Consider trucks coming in and out, in and out, in and out. You mean to tell me it's going to take, what, a little truck to build 300 units to build all this? This? It's gotten out of hand. I understand that we have to stay and we have to be, safe harbor or all these other terminology. We have 40B and all these other things. I understand all that. And I'm not against affordable housing. This would be great if this was up in the Independence Park or something like Mashpee Commons is doing. But to do this behind houses that are 2-bedroom ranches, to have a building the size of Falmouth Hospital behind your house, what expectation of privacy do people deserve to have when they're in their outdoor shower after they come home from the beach and you have this looking down on you? 54 feet? 54 feet behind people's homes. It is egregious. Thank you.
Thank you.
The hearing is supposed to be limited to the 3 subjects.
Tommy Zine, Captain Bonenberger Lane, about 30 seconds here. Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. I want an opportunity to provide input on the second round of proposed changes to Falmouth Sublease Comprehensive Permit. I'm respectfully requesting this board schedule a public hearing so that our attorney, Dennis Murphy from Hill Law, can deliver our comments to you and provide concise input about these changes to the comprehensive permit. Thank you for considering this request.
Thank you. Anybody else? What up, Richard?
No, do you want to? No. mean, it was properly noticed, so, I mean,
Richard Johnson, 1 Amvets Avenue. I'm just curious about the stormwater changes along the entry road and how that will affect the proposed landscape planting of street trees. Will the street trees now be in the bottom of those basins, or are they up on the shoulder of it?
It's a good question. Maybe someone could address it. Thank you, Richard.
I can address it. It will not affect it. The street trees will be installed as they were on the original plans. No plantings in the bottom of the basin.
So landscape plan doesn't change at all?
Does not change.
actually, except for the fact that the trees will probably be fed in a better fashion with this, as opposed to the old, because there'll be water in there that will get to the roots of the trees.
It would be great to say yes to that, but unlikely, given how permeable the soil is. The trees will be on the shoulder of the road. These basins will be down the 2 feet from it. So the roots, if they're really going down, they may be able to grab some of that water, but I think they might be a little bit above it, unfortunately. As much as I'd like to agree with that notion.
Generally, the roots chase the water.
Yeah, it could chase it, but the problem out here is the soil doesn't hold the water for very long, so it'll do the best it can. But the landscaping will not change at all.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hello, Marjorie Parmenter, 36 Meredith Drive. I'm in a butter. I wanted to point out to the board that from studying the original roof height that I believe is part of the original Plan B, it was a flat roof with a parapet, which is like a little skirty fence skirting. And that was actually, I believe, 50 feet. The 53 feet comes in because of the poke up of the elevator shaft, period. So now we're going to 54 feet, 3.5 inches if you look at the actual numbers on the plan. So that's a delta of 4 feet, 3.5 inches. And I would like to remind the board of the agony that the abutters went through months ago with the balloon study and all the concern about the line of sight from the back of their homes. And I just think that this is an outrage to let this get through. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Hi, Wendy Bisler, president of Coonamessett River Trust. I have a general question. How often do these plans that come in before you get changed over time like this? It seems like these little changes may not be substantial on their own, but the nibbling away together, they can add up to something that's substantial, so.
Go for it if you want. It's almost every case.
Well, the problem, not the problem, but when they, on the 40B, they do not have to submit final plans at the time the comprehensive permit's approved. They're preliminary plans.
Okay.
So what's happening is that they are now putting together the final plans, and of course, there are always changes.
All right.
So, and there's no limit on the number of times they can come back. If they want to
Okay.
come back once or twice, that's okay. 5 or 6 times. We have to hear them every time they come back.
Okay, that was my other
And
question.
the
is-
limiting factor is 10%,
Yes.
and they haven't.
So even though the footprint's getting smaller, it's only if it increases that
I'd
it
say
matters.
it's almost in every 40B we do pretty much.
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of them, at least 80%. We have
I mean,
changes.
the hard and fast is the 10%.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, I think these people's questions should be answered, so, and as far as Ms. Parmenter's concern about the height, I mean, 4 feet into 50-something is under 10%, so again, it falls within the guidelines.
But there's a human factor here.
You have to come up, I'm sorry.
But, yeah, okay.
The
Well, it's gonna
state's
be
not human.
pitched. It's going to be pitched with solar panels, from what I'm understanding.
Potentially. Potentially.
What do you mean potentially?
I didn't hear that there was a power purchase agreement with the solar. I thought the term you used, you're still looking into it,
Anyhow, thank you.
so it's not
Thank you.
done.
It's in our best interest to get the solar, that's why we pitched the roofs. We haven't got a power purchase agreement, but we're running numbers based on just the power staying on site. It looks like it would really be a positive impact on our utility use, so that's where we're going. But we haven't gone back.
So you're going to share, because the tenants pay for their own utilities.
Correct.
There's going to be some
Reduction
portion of this where you share back with the tenant, and it will...
Their utility costs are going to be lower. It'll make the project more desirable.
But it also doesn't mean he might not come back for more if he hasn't got a contract yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
By right, they can.
can cover the roof as much as you want, as far as I'm concerned.
Anyone else from the public?
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Try to stick to what we're doing tonight, if you would. Thank you.
So my question is this: if they cover the roof with solar panels, is the Falmouth Fire Department able to handle knocking that down to if there was ever a fire in the building? Do they have the apparatus and the equipment? I know we have a brand-new fire station on Hatchville Road that's quite lovely, actually. They did a nice job designing it. But do they have the apparatus? Do they have the equipment? From my understanding, if you put solar panels on someone's roof, it makes it much more difficult for firefighters, men and women, to get into the dwelling, the house, the structure. I'm not an engineer, but I'm just wondering, does Falmouth have the apparatus to handle the fire if there was solar panels on that roof?
I know we have a ladder truck on order, don't we? I think.
Can I clarify?
Certainly.
The young lady. The difference between an apartment building and a single-family home, your single-family home is not typically sprinkled, whereas an apartment building is fully sprinkled. So, the ability of the fire department, it's much easier for them to deal with a sprinkled building than a single-family home. You had a difficult time in your neighborhood where you had a fire, that home was not sprinkled. If that home was sprinkled, the fire department would have never shown up. And many people are making the move to sprinkle their individual homes because it's become more and more cost-effective.
I think she was asking if the solar panels go up. Those will not be sprinkled
They're on the exterior, they're on the roof.
on the exterior, but they can.
I don't believe they'd create any additional problems.
And they got a switch, they can shut the... Now, those are only going to be on the front, the south-facing roofs anyway, so if they ever potentially had to vent, they would have the whole backside to do, if so, which would be unlikely if it's sprinkled anyway, but it's not. So they're not constricting that in any fashion, all right.
Anybody else?
Motion?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we make a finding that the proposed changes are insubstantial. The first change is the reduction in a slight reduction in the size of each unit. The other one is the increasing the roof from a flat roof to a pitched roof with a total height of 54 feet, 3.5 inches. And the third request is changing the stormwater management system from an underground approved system to a natural basin 2-foot depth approved system to be approved by the town engineer.
Second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Do we want any, can we condition?
What do we want to condition?
It's
You have to have a hearing.
Since
You have to have a hearing to do that.
So with an insubstantial change, if you approve the change goes in.
Okay.
But I guess the question I would have for you is obviously you want confirmation.
From stormwater, that's what
Right.
Yeah,
I'm worried about.
Well, that's written in already.
But I guess in the bigger picture also, as we've discussed earlier, they cannot pull a building permit without engineering sign-off. And they can't get engineering sign-off
Okay.
if engineering
Permit.
disapproves their stormwater.
Okay,
So
so I think we're good. Okay?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. right. We're on number 3, board discussion. Can all wish we were Jim. That's it. Board updates. No board updates. We want our 2 sickies to get better. Zoning administrator updates. Good job.
The Patriots.
The Patriots.
Going to make best efforts on Sunday.
True that. And future agenda items.
I have something.
Go ahead.
The more I think about it, the more I'm completely uncomfortable with what we did last week. Basically, it amounts to approving a commercial operation in a residential district. I'm not comfortable with the, and I didn't speak up enough when I did. I picked up on it initially, but the garages that went with the last item we had last week, the town pays $2.4 million from the Affordable Housing Fund, and for us to be subsidizing somebody's operation, I think it needs to be on the agenda for us to discuss. I think this is going to explode, and everybody's going to be doing it. I think it's wrong. I think that we should reach out and pose the question to the Affordable Housing Committee and anybody else who'd listen, you know, Falmouth Housing Trust, Falmouth Housing Corp., Kim, whether they really are comfortable with town's affordable housing funds subsidizing somebody's workshop, for want of a better term. I think that maybe that the town would be interested in having a policy that we disallow this. There's no other 40B in town that has that. We know from having the Adams brothers here doing their contractors' bays that if we allowed them to build 100 of them, they could rent them all. There's just as much a shortage of affordable or commercial space. I just, the whole idea of that doesn't sit well with me, and I think we should reach out and get opinions and address this issue, because I can guarantee you that every 40B coming down the road is going to be wanting the same thing. And I think it's an abuse of the lot coverage that we give them. I think it's just completely wrong. And I want it put on the agenda for discussion, and I think in the interim, maybe if we reached out to, as I say, the other affordable housing affiliates in town to get their opinion. Like I said, there's very limited affordable housing money in this town, and we shouldn't be subsidizing anybody's contractor bay. And I mean, let's face it, that's a commercial entity we just allowed in a residential neighborhood. The extra traffic, there's a million reasons why it shouldn't be done, and I think we should address this before it gets out of hand.
All right.
So I think it might be helpful for the board to have perhaps the housing coordinator come and discuss how they review the funding that they provide to developers. I mean, for your general knowledge, in order to receive a comprehensive permit, the developer has to be providing 25% minimum affordable housing. So it's my understanding that the Affordable Housing Committee is not subsidizing or not recommending subsidy for whatever the developer has to provide per the state regulations.
But it's all, it all filters in, and I mean, there's, I just think it's wrong, and then we're basically permitting a commercial entity, we're permitting more traffic in a place that has children. I just think the whole thing should be addressed, and I think we should reach out and get opinions from more than just that, because it's nowhere.
Right.
This is the first, and I think it should be the last.
Right, so I think essentially, I think the additional funding that is requested is in most times an additional buy down. So, for example, if the developer has to provide 25% affordable housing, and they are, say, willing to provide more or tiered housing, that's when the Affordable Housing Committee would recommend that the town would make a contribution. So,
Whatever, he got that money,
Yeah.
and it's all part of one project, and
Yeah.
and besides, it's a commercial entity, basically, and he told us right in the beginning, his intention was to store his equipment from all their other projects, and that intention isn't gone. We gave him, what, a three-car garage?
Yeah, though
Come on,
we
give me a break,
really-
and he told me it was to store screens and
But
smoke
we-
alarms?
Right, but we don't,
Whatever, I'm just telling you.
want to
This needs to be on the agenda.
Right.
And we need to get other opinions other than our own.
Right,
Because I
but-
think this is completely wrong.
Yeah, we should not discuss a specific location or address.
Nah, whatever. I want this on the agenda. And
We'll
and I
have
think.
Kim come in. I think it's a good idea to
Yeah.
have her come in. We can.
Yeah,
it's a
and I
good
think
idea.
the other part too is that when you look at these LIP applications, and, part of maybe the larger conversation would be, what exactly is the town giving money for, and how do we make sure it's utilized properly without, so.
I think it's
Yeah.
good to have her come in.
Yeah, and there's, and then there's more than one ways to come at this thing, and, I mean, is it possible that the building commissioner won't even give him the permit because he deems it a commercial? I mean, this needs to be on the
We're not
agenda.
talking about a specific
Yeah, well,
case.
I'm talking about it,
I think that
Sue me,
Senator's
whatever you
questions
want.
are legitimate questions to be asked. I'm just wondering, is this the right forum? Because what can we do about it? If there's a
Oh,
commercial, if it's a commercial component to a residential project, then what we can do is say no. But as to what any other agency of the town does, the selectman or the housing coordinator or the building department or the planning board or whatever, they're on their own. They can do whatever they want.
Well, they're on notice that we're going to have it on the agenda, and they can come and weigh in, but I think that we're not an island, and I just think this is, I'm sorry, and I have all my faith in you. It's not a criticism of what you guys did, but the more I think about it, the more I know that it's wrong. And I don't want to see every 40B project having, Joe's lawnmower repair and snow plow
I think it's
storage.
good if we bring her in and discuss the financials. I think can't hurt.
And,
Well, who does that Falmouth Affordable Housing Fund? Well, she's only part of it. Is it the CPC? Or is it the Board of Selectmen, right? They're the people that grant that
The
money.
select board is the final
Yeah.
vote for.
But they're presented
Right.
with, yeah,
But they get it from the CPC, right?
I thought it
So
was.
if nothing else, when this does get put on the agenda, it would be nice to notice any and all who might even potentially be interested in
Yeah.
weighing in on this.
She could talk to Jed about it and.
Not only
figure out-
Jed, I mean, like the Affordable Housing Committee, I mean, other 40B projects, I mean, I'm sure there's other people that want to weigh in on this.
Oh, 'cause it is
I don't think I'm alone in this feeling.
No.
And just understand that, this is not, this board has like very specific parameters as far as control goes. And I think having a, quote, public forum where people come in and discuss, I don't think this is the appropriate location for that. I think it does make sense for this board to have specific information about, well, though here's the other part too, is that the financial end of things is technically not something that this board can touch. That's the responsibility.
We already touched it.
Of the subsidizing agency, and there's a very narrow band where the board is able to ask anything about financials. And that is specifically if you have some particular condition that you're issuing, and the developer says that's uneconomic, then you can talk finances, but other than that, this board is strictly not allowed.
Well, that's only one
To get
one
into the
part of
financial aspect.
my problem
Right.
with this. It's
Right.
commercial, it's too much traffic for a residential neighborhood that's going to have kids. There's a million reasons in my mind why we shouldn't have done this, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the town wants to make a policy against this because it was wrong.
Right, but I think, again, this board does not have any authority to
We
comment.
have the authority to give it,
About
but we should have the authority to
finances.
never give it again, because I think it was a mistake. And I mean, it needs to be on the agenda for discussion, although we've discussed it plenty here, but I'm not going to give up on this.
I would talk to
Sorry.
Kim and Judd.
It needs to be
Yeah,
addressed.
I guess, again, what I'll say is, people can talk about, like, Kim can come and tell you how they evaluate the financials and what they give money for. But this board has no authority to impact that determination in any way. If they decide to give a developer money or not, that is not any part of this board's role. I understand
It's a
your...
commercial entity that we, I mean, and that's only a small part of my argument, but I still think I'm correct. And like I said, let's get some, put this on the agenda, please, and then make them aware, and let's, I think a little input, because I'm just, obviously, I think that was wrong, and I think we opened up a can of worms.
Well, we did that before. We authorized a cafe in a residential building down the street.
But they applied for it.
But he authorized it.
But they applied for it. This was not applied for, this was thrown in like.
Yeah, thrown in, and two wrongs don't make a right,
Right.
anyway. And every case is its own case on its own merits.
It's okay to have commercial with 40B.
Yeah.
There's
And,
that one downtown with the,
We've made mistakes
Laundromat.
before and not repeated them.
yeah.
I won't repeat them now, because, whatever. I'm serious about this, obviously.
No, Nori
have a
will
discussion.
do.
It's easy.
You'll take care of us. Put Mark at ease.
Best efforts.
Yes. Anybody have anything else?
No.
All right, Mark, lay it on us.
Motion to adjourn, Madam Chair, after all that wind I expired.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Our next meeting will be on February 26th at 6 PM. All those in favor of adjourning? Aye.
For 2
Opposed?
weeks?
Done. 2 weeks.